What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back doing our third and final preview video for round 2 of the Six Nations 2024. This one's going to be for Ireland versus Italy. We've already done the one for the England-Wales game and Scotland-France. They're already up on the channel. You can go check them out after this one if you haven't already. Of course, we're going to have a run through the team announcements, give a bit of a reaction, give some thoughts on who's been picked to play, some expectations of what I think is going to happen in this game. And then finally, of course, give that all-important score prediction that I'll be miles off on because I normally always am. If you enjoy this one, make sure you hit the old like button. It really does help the channel out. And share it. Share it with people, subscribe, do all the fun YouTube stuff. So Ireland versus Italy then. Ireland versus Italy, two teams coming into this game, probably with quite a bit of momentum. Ireland last week played France, got a really good win. Really good win. Got a bonus point in that game, something I was not expecting to do. I thought it'd be a low-scoring game. They absolutely turned up for that one with some, new players like Crowley coming in. There was a lot of, wavering thoughts about that Ireland team, how they should cope with it. Thought he did really well. Italy, solid first half against England, went in at halftime in the lead, didn't manage to unfortunately come away with a win by the end of the game, but did come away with a losing bonus point and kept that scoreline very, very close by the end. So two teams coming in with a bit of momentum. Ireland at home, though, going to be a big task for Italy to deal with. Speaking of Ireland, then, let's start out by taking a look at this Ireland team. So there's been a few changes, and I think that's probably expected, right? Italy in the Six Nations, with absolutely no disrespect. Italy is the team a lot of the other teams, really target to take big points away from. In the tournament itself, Ireland are also at home. They've just beaten France, who for me were going to be their closest competitors for this year's tournament. I think they're going in with full head of confidence. So absolutely worth making sure players are safe, keep them rested for, for some of the other massive games they're going to have going on through this tournament, and give some of the lads a bit of a try out and see how they're going to cope in the team. So starting in the front row, Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan and Finlay Bealham, still a solid front row. They're not messing around. They saw how Italy were still coping with the scrummaging going on against England last week. They've still gone for some big hitters there. Tyke Furlong, not in the team. I can't think if I saw anything about an injury for him. But Dan Sheehan, you always know he's going to be at the back of the maul. I made a mistake last week by not picking him in my fantasy team. Went for George Turner. Shouldn't have done that. Dan Sheehan scored well. Might be making that swap this week. Keep an eye out for my fantasy team coming out either later today or maybe on tomorrow, just before the first kickoff. In the lock department, Joe McCarthy going in back alongside of James Ryan this week. Now, Joe McCarthy last week got man of the match performance. Really great way to break into the that Irish scene. Got man of the match, gave his medal to his brother. Awesome stuff, and worked hard for it. Not a perfect game. I mean, he had a couple of things going against him. I think he had a couple of penalties as well, maybe being looked at. But overall, I thought the performance from him was absolutely solid. What a way to stamp your name down as another competitor in the lock department for Ireland. They've got depth of squad in that lock department. It's nice to see him in there, and I think giving Tyke Byrne a bit of a rest this week. Giving him side James Ryan as well. Good partnership. And then in the back row, lots of swapping up going on here. Ryan Baird goes in alongside of Caelan Doris as the open side flanker this week and as captain, and Jack Conan going in the number 8. So of course no Peter O'Mahony, so captaincy's going over to Caelan Doris, who did get his yellow card last week, Peter O'Mahony, which I was a little bit surprised by, especially from when he's taken over that captaincy role. Caelan Doris has played 7 before. We saw this leading up to the World Cup, right? Or was it even in the World Cup? I'm trying to cast my mind back now. But he can play that entire back row. One of the sort of few players it feels like that is really international standard in all 3 positions. I think he'll be fine there. I'm looking forward to see a bit more from Ryan Baird. Not a name we've got to see an enormous amount in the Ireland shirt here. I think a great opportunity for him to get involved with this team. In the halfback partnership, Craig Casey going in alongside of Jack Crowley. I mean, we know what Gibson Park, we know what Conor Murray's going to bring. Craig Casey's the more youngster coming in here. Got a lot of energy about him. Going to be wanting to get that ball out quick. I still think for me, James Gibson Park is the number 1 choice. He is on the bench. So, if the game is going awry, second half, bring him on, a bit more experience in that halfback partnership, I think is a good move. Jack Crowley getting the start. Jack Crowley last week, again, a lot of big talking points. Is he going to be okay at number 10? Is he going to cope in an Ireland shirt? Yes! You know what? I was really impressed by that performance. Again, not perfect, but I wasn't expecting it to be. He made quite a few mistakes, actually, across the game. But something that really impressed me about Jack Crowley was the fact that he made those mistakes. He made a couple of kicks that were a bit to nothing or not really working, but it didn't faze him at all. He made a mistake and he put his hand and went, sorry, boys, no worries about that. Got on with the next thing. 2 minutes later, did something brilliant in terms of a kick. That's the sign of someone that's going to be able to cope in that international shirt. It's not necessarily about getting the perfect game. It's about making the mistakes and just moving on from it and doing the next thing absolutely brilliantly. And I think he landed it. Now, going into to start this one is an interesting call for me. I thought with how well he played against France, they might actually not include him in this game and be like, okay, we've tested you out now. We know you're going to be solid in that number 10 shirt. I thought Frawley might get a shot here to actually start as 10. So Jack Crowley going in again. I maybe would have liked to have seen Frawley tested out in that number 10 shirt and get a bit of rotation. Harry Byrne is on the bench down here this week in the 22 shirt as well. So maybe he'll get some game time. I would like to see if Ireland are ahead, you know, sort of comfortably 2 or 3 tries to the wind in that first half. If it happens to go that way, I would like to see Crowley come off and see other players getting a bit more game time in that fly half and get those options tested. I don't think you want to go like Ireland kind of had with when Johnny Sexton wasn't in. It felt a little bit like, oh, who is going to step in here? I would like them to have 2 or 3 options in that Ireland squad rather than now just back Crowley every single time. Centre partnership, Stuart McCloskey goes in alongside of Robbie Henshaw-Bundyaki, rested this week. I still don't think Ringrose has completely recovered either. So Stuart McCloskey and Robbie Henshaw. McCloskey's just going to go battering through the work. Robbie Henshaw, I don't know actually. I can't really think of too much I saw him get up to last week. I'm sure he was, but it's not a name that stood out to me last week, which normally says the work rate maybe not quite there for me, but he's moved to 13 this week in the outside centre, which is typically where I actually prefer Robbie Henshaw. I like seeing him on that outside because I think he finds better lines. Stuart McCloskey's a big unit. He's up for some crash balls. The Italian defence is going to have some big lads running at them. Then in the back 3, James Lowe, Calvin Nash, and Hugo Keenan. Again, I was actually expecting James Lowe to not play this one. You know, not for any, bad reason, but just, he's your number 1 nailed-on winger. I thought Calvin Nash played well last week. I thought they might go Calvin Nash and Jordan Lama for this one, but looking at that Italian team, who are the boys, getting over that try line? Monty Ioane right at the end of the game. You've got the way they're looping Tommaso Allan around the back. Wingers need to be on point. James Lowe's a solid, defender in terms of that wing. So, I think that's still a good move for them for this one. In the replacements, Ronan Kelleher, Jamie Loughman, and Tom O'Toole going in alongside of Ian Henderson and Josh van der Fleer sitting on the bench this week. Jameson Gibson Park, Harry Byrne, and Jordan Lama on that bench as well for them. Now, I imagine, like I said, Lama, I think, would come on for James Lowe if it was not going that way. I think Jordan Lama is also capable of doing the fullback position as well. Might be a way to save Hugo Keenan, who I still maintain is one of the most valuable players in this Ireland team. He just puts his body on the line every single time someone breaks through. So maybe not a bad idea to put someone like that in a fullback and give Hugo Keenan a bit of rest in that second half especially. But there's a big bench coming on there for some of these lads. So overall, it's still a solid Ireland team. A lot of chopping and changing, which can sometimes bring a bit of inconsistency, but we know how well drilled this Ireland team is. And Italy will have to keep an eye out for them because for me, they are the number 1 contenders. Talking of the opponents then, Italy going in, who I really thought might cause an upset last week against England. There was something about it that I thought maybe they would just about squeak it. The first half looking really good for them. The second half, falling off a little bit. Okay, we got that 1 try at the end by Monty Ioane, and he's a brilliant individual runner with the ball in hand. Right, at second half, though, they really felt the pressure lumped on them. England really pinned them back in that half. And it was sort of struggling to find their way out a little bit. And Ireland are great at doing that exact thing. They are good at taking over the set piece. They are good at just pinning you back at where you need to be. And you've got to try and work out a way to get around them. So Italy looking to hopefully keep momentum going on. They kept England to a close game, got that losing bonus point. I'm hoping they come in as well, feeling confident for this game as well. In the front row then, Fischetti, Lucchesi and Ceccarelli going in up against a strong Irish pack. I still feel like I would be leaning towards the Irish scrum in terms of looking at those front rows in having a little bit more dominance, but hopefully they do prove me wrong. I want to see them, absolutely smash the scrum as well. In the lock department, Nicolo Cannone going in alongside of Federico Ruzza, who it was really interesting. I was taking a look at some of those lineouts last week. Ruzza had, he's such a good defensive lineout player. Just being able to steal lineouts on his own 5-meter line or just looks absolutely solid. And then sometimes on Italy's own lineout, it looks a bit shaky, and I don't know how that can be. I don't know how you can be brilliant in the defence and get a couple of your own lineouts wrong. They'll need to be on top of their game versus Ireland because they are absolutely going to look to, take over that lineout position. So many jumpers in that Irish team, and with Dan Sheehan, at the helm is a solid throw as well. So someone like Roots are going to be really, really important just to remove that sort of area where, you know, Ireland are going to look to build an attack from. In the back row, then, where we've got quite a lot of switching around here. Isaacor goes in at blind side, Zuliani at open side, and Lamaro moving now to the number 8 shirt now. Sebastian's gone out with an injury. We also lost the other Canone. We lost Lorenzo Canone as well. He went off just after halftime, right? If I remember right. I think he picked up a knock as well. So a lot of changes in the back row. You know, a lot of shifting up. I can't think of the last time I ever saw Lamaro play 8. I'm sure he's fully capable of doing it, still retaining that captaincy as well. But yeah, gonna be some testing times for these lads. Hopefully, big opportunity for Isaacor and Zuliani to, you know, try and put a stamp down, get themselves in that starting team on a more consistent basis. Give it your best shot. Why not? In the halfback partnership, Stephen Varney goes in alongside our Paolo Garbisi. We don't have the two Garbisi brothers, of course. Alessandro last week got his try against England, feeling pretty good about that one. Stephen Varney back in this week. A couple of you guys did let me know that Stephen Varney was actually just coming off the back of an injury last week. I was saying about, I don't know why they started Stephen Varney on the bench. It's because he didn't have as much time in training as Garbisi, so that's why he was starting on the bench as opposed to being in the starting 15. This week gets into the starting 15. Momentum, speed. Stephen Varney needs to be involved in those rucks. But you've also got to clear them out, right? One of the things that Ireland do very well is slowing down your ruck. Stephen Varney likes a fast ruck. So I think if Ireland begin to really slow him down, that's going to really begin to bother someone like Stephen Varney. He wants quick ball. He needs those Italian forwards to be with him. Clear it out. But I can see Ireland absolutely targeting the breakdown just to slow down that ball and really shut down them being able to get these sort of wide, expansive attacks through some of their backs. In the centre partnership, Menoncello going back alongside Brex. Two lads who I thought played really, really well last week. Menoncello, you guys said, keep an eye out for this guy in the Italian team this year. He's going to be the one to watch. I thought he had a fantastic game last week. Brex, defensively, as sound as, you know, you ever want to see him. He just gets involved with so many massive hits. I really like this setup that they've actually got with Italy. Menoncello is such an attacking centre. He's always looking for that room. He's always on someone's shoulder for the offload. He's not selfish. He just gives passes. They got over for the Tommaso Allan try. It was him off the shoulder of Canone, right? Ran round, could have taken it on himself, gave the pass inside, let someone else run over for the try. Really attacking. Then you've got a solid defensive player at Brex. That's a nice partnership in the centre there, and I like what they're doing. And then in the back three, Montiuani, Lorenzo Pani goes in alongside of Capoozzo. So, no, Capoozzo didn't play last week, right, did he? He pulled out just before the game. I remember him being in the team, but didn't actually play. So they haven't got Tommaso Allan at 15. They've gone for Capoozzo at 15. I've said it before, I prefer him on the wing. I'll see how he gets on in this game at fullback and see if my thoughts change. I typically prefer him on the wing. In terms of the replacements then, Nico Terra goes in alongside Spagnuolo and Zilocci. Coming in there alongside them is also Zambonin and Vincent, who is a guy I know nothing about, Ross Vincent. I'm going to have to keep a very special eye out for him. I always try my best when some of these new names come along for me. And then the replacement backs, Pajarello, Tommaso Allan, and Federico Mori coming in there in the bench. Now, in terms of the bench, I'm going to have a quick flick back now. Now, who am I sort of leaning towards in terms of that bench? I think actually there's quite a solid front row replacement coming on from Italy. They might feel like they get a really big bolster in terms of the scrummaging. Rest of the replacement forwards, though, I mean, Ian Henderson and Josh van der Fleer, two big names coming on compared to someone like Zambonin and Vincent, who, you know, are still, you know, looking to get in that Italian team a bit more often. I think I'm still leaning slightly towards that Ireland bench to be able to seal out that game. But something we've seen from Italy in the last couple of years is a lot of people consider Italy to still be this like 60-minute team, and after about 60 minutes they fall off. They're a different team now. They're young, they've got energy. They actually play to the full 80 now, and that last 75 to 80th minute marker is actually where we see a lot of Italy come back to life and get in it. We saw it last week again. Last minute try right at the end of the game. If they can keep that scoreline close right up to that point, you feel like they've actually got the energy to continue on now. So you can't begin to shut off versus Italy. It's going to be a very, very exciting game. I'm looking forward to it. So what are our sort of expectations going into this game? I think Ireland are going to look to take some of the competitive areas. The line-out situation, I think Ireland have probably got a stronger line-out for me. I would be looking for them to take over that set piece. Scrummaging-wise, I mean, they've both come in with big sets of forwards. I think Italy are a little bit dinged from that back row changes going on for them. I think Ireland's probably got a stronger front row for me. So I think the scrums will be leaning more towards Ireland. Italy will want to play fast. I think Italy want to avoid giving Ireland the ball as much as possible. There's a couple of kicks last week, which I feel like that's just giving the ball back to England. I would like to see Italy hold on to the ball. We've seen what they can do from set plays, off the back of a ruck or off the back of a set piece. It's how they got a couple of their tries. You know, they're always looking to play these quite complicated set plays, but they do get around defenders, and you get out to a winger, you get it out to someone like Montijuani, you get out to a Menoncello, or Capuoto now is going to be that fullback shit as well, right? There's pace. The lads can back themselves. I really think the Italian backs is something they should be pushing for more, because I think once they get on the break, they're actually really hard to stop. I think Ireland will look for a bit more of a power game. They've actually gone for the 5-3. I did think maybe they would go for the 6-2 for this game and just try and out-muscle Italy and go for the power game. They haven't gone down that road. But in terms of a score prediction, I'm still going to lean towards Ireland for this one. I think they've got full confidence going in, even with the amount of changes coming into the side. I'm still leaning towards Ireland, and playing at home is another little boost for you. I can see some threes happening in the first half. I can see getting on the score. We'll get a couple of penalties and stuff. I think they would want to really stamp down after taking the bonus point from France. I think they'd want to also look to take a bonus point from this. So I think tries will be on the cards. I don't think it'll be a case of slotting through threes for the rest of the game. I'm going to say Ireland to take this one. And I'm going to say Ireland by 15. That's going to be my score predictions, guys. Make sure you get your score predictions up on Super Brew along with your fantasy teams. Drop down in the comment sections what you think of the teams, and also your own predictions for who you think's going to win or by how much, all that good stuff. I always enjoy having a read through the comments. Like I said, I'll be updating my fantasy team at some point this evening. I've got a very busy evening going on tonight, so I'll see if I get around to it. The video might be out tonight going over my Guinness fantasy team, or it might come out tomorrow before kickoff of the first game, what have you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you're the first one to know when that video comes out. I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. Let's look forward to another awesome round of the Guinness Six Nations. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.